What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1074 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with a very special guest co-host today. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, my name is Vara.
Who are you? What do you do?
I am a YouTube content creator. I am a video game live streamer, entertainment commentator on the internet, like all of us.
You do like a lot of gaming streams too, like every day.
I do, yeah. I live stream every single day, generally, except for Friday. Sometimes I'll get a Friday off here or there, but yeah, video games Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays.
I feel like that's good in an age where, like, my guess is, like, the number one thing that they would try to say whenever you... Because you seem to be very fair with your game reviews about the stuff that you like and the stuff that you don't like. But whenever you do end up not liking a game that they're telling you you're supposed to like, they're going to try and throw it in your face that you don't actually play games and you're just saying it because that's what other people are saying. And then all you have to do is kind of just point to your library.
Yeah, I tend to do that a lot where I have to like screenshot or screen record my playlist. I'm like, no, I don't play video games because of course I live stream, 50 to 60 video games a year on the channel, and I play basically everything that I possibly can. But I like more games every single year than I dislike games.
Yeah.
So
I feel the same way about movies for the most part. Granted, I don't see like endless amounts of movies, but between the stuff that I do watch, and I think for me it's a little bit different because you actually then will sit through the stuff that you don't like because you're doing it as part of the stream. For me, if I don't like something, I just turn it off. But for the most part, like I end up liking more stuff than I dislike when I go to the movies, and maybe some of that's just like sunken cost fallacy. I'm like, I have to like this because I paid whatever amount of money for it. But I don't think that that's what it is. It's kind of just making a joke. I do think most of the time, just the experience of going to the theater means that, outside of some really bad examples, I at least enjoy myself.
Yeah, I sort of feel the same way. I try really hard to like the things that I'm purchasing because video games are $70 each
money.
Generally, so that's thousands upon thousands of dollars a year. I don't want to hate something, but there's some games where I cannot like anything about it because it's just so bad.
There you go. Well, we'll get into it. We've got video game news today, which we did decide to put together. If you're wondering what that's going to be, we are going to be talking about layoffs going on over at Xbox. Vera's going to fill us in on everything going on there because their system, the way video games are developed from my research, it's just so vastly different from the way that movies are made, given the way that, how everything is consolidated and owned there. It'll be very interesting to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the fact that Supergirl is, as I was saying, cooked. I was right about Masters of the Universe being cooked. Look at me. Doesn't matter. I like the movie, so don't go coming at me with that. I had fun at the movie, but it has 71% drop off in week 2, and it doesn't look like Supergirl is going to open very well either, potentially losing to Toy Story in its second week. So we will get into that. But before we get started on everything we're going to talk about, hit the like button on this episode. Subscribe to the channel, perhaps, if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. Share the episode out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people in your life that you both love and hate. The more people that you share the show with, the faster the channel can grow. And once you're done sharing it, you should argue down in the comments section about what it is that we're talking about in the video because it increases our engagement. You should go ahead and do that. So what are we getting into today? Like I said, we're going to talk about the Microsoft stuff. We're going to talk about the Supergirl stuff. We're also going to talk about a rumor, and I do want to preface rumor, and I will preface again before we start the topic, before somebody starts saying fake news. And it's a Jeff Snyder rumor to boot, which is hardly what you'd call reliable in Hollywood spaces, but it makes for fun conversation about the fact that it is possible that Brian Tyree Henry, the actor, has been cast as Two-Face in the upcoming Batman Part 2. Now, that's of interest to a lot of people because people were under the impression that Sebastian Stan was going to be playing Two-Face, given some comments that Matt Reeves has said. Now they're saying that it's possible that he'd be playing Victor Zsasz, which actually makes perfect sense because, given the Riddler, the iteration they gave us of the Riddler before, makes perfect sense to have like a serial killer be the bad guy, the big bad in the second Batman movie. If it ever comes out, Robert Pattinson's going to be 60 by the time they're done. So we'll get into that. And then we've got a couple of other things to get into. I am going to make everybody listen to us talk about Fox and Roku. Because look, media is consolidating further and further. And I know that the general party line on the right now is to dunk because they're just glad that Netflix didn't get their hands on Paramount. So they're like, okay, good, give it to David Ellison. And as much as I do think David Ellison is a positive for the theater side of the movies, I think consolidation in general is a bad thing. And we're seeing that further with what's going on with Roku and with Fox. So we will talk about that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you're ready to go then, Vara, we can just go ahead and get started. Are you ready to go?
Ready as always.
As always. Here we go then. Let's talk about what is going on with the possibility, and I do stress possibility, of Brian Tyree Henry, the actor, playing Harvey Dent in the upcoming Batman 2. Now, this is, of course, as I said, it is a rumor, heavily focused on rumor, because I don't want people talking about how I was out here pushing some type of fake news story saying that this was the truth. This is a rumor. They're saying that it's possible that Sebastian Stan will not be playing Harvey Dent in the Batman 2, but he would, in fact, be playing Victor Zsasz, the serial killer, and that's where we got into the story about Brian Tyree Henry. This is what it said. A new Batman rumor claims that actor Brian Tyree Henry has been cast as Harvey Dent in Matt Reeves' The Batman 2. The report comes from an industry scooper, Jeff Snyder, who alleged that the earlier assumptions about Stan playing Dent were incorrect. While the claim was generated significant discussion amongst Batman fans, it remains unconfirmed and should be viewed cautiously given Snyder's uneven track record. Yes, that is 110% true. So here's the thing. And we'll get into some other stuff. I have some Grace Randolph tweets pulled up as well. Which
oh, great! I love hearing her talk. I mean, my goodness.
Hey, I'm actually one of the few people that's a Grace Randolph voice defender. Never bothered me. Never bothered me. That's perfectly fine. But the point is, there is precedent for what they would call a race-swapped Harvey Dent. Obviously, Billy D. Williams played Harvey Dent in the 1989 Batman movie. Granted, I think he's only on screen for like 5 minutes, maybe, at tops in that movie. And he was supposed to come back and play Harvey Dent in the next, in Batman Returns, but obviously they ended up taking the movie a different direction. Penguin and Catwoman ended up becoming the dominant force in that movie. So they moved on, and then Joel Schumacher ended up recasting once they got to Batman Forever, because that was Tommy Lee Jones who ended up playing them in there. So there's other precedent to be set here, because Jim Gordon has already been race swapped with Jeffrey Wright playing him in that movie. And here's where I think people might fall by the wayside, which is that despite the fact that there was some criticism of the race swap of Wright at the beginning, I think for the most part that was the least of people's concerns when the Batman came out, because most of the time, unless you are politically right-wing and in the entertainment space, I would be willing to bet that the average everyday person doesn't care about race swaps as much if the actor is somebody that people know, which is why people didn't care as much about Deadshot being played by Will Smith in the 2016 Suicide Squad movie. But in general, if it's an actor they know can give them a decent performance, as long as there's something to write home about, it won't get the focus on it, unless you get the kind of spike we're seeing right now with, what's going on with the Odyssey. That's a whole nother story entirely. But I would just be interested to hear what your perspective is on something like this, given perspectives on race swaps and stuff.
Yeah, so I think that race swaps can work still very rarely, though, if the actor sort of embodies the character and learns what is special about this character, and of course is extremely talented. Now, gender swaps never work. Yeah. I have never seen a gender swap that I've liked or enjoyed. And looking at Gordon in the Batman, I think that actor is a very good one. He did a very solid job, and clearly, they're going in that direction with the Batman. I think, though, that this actor, Brian Tyree Henry, is not a good actor. And so that is where a lot of this controversy is going to come in, because, as you mentioned, we have already seen Billy D. Williams play Harvey Dent. was obviously a very fantastic actor, but had a smaller role. And we don't know what Two-Face is going to have for a role in the Batman Part 2, because at this point it seems that they've cast so many different actors for so many different roles.
Is it Margot Robbie supposedly in this movie too?
It was a rumor, but we know that Scarlett Johansson.
I'm sorry, that's who it was. Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah,
yes.
I think that Margot Robbie was the rumor to play the character that now Scarlett is playing. But Brian Tyree Henry is not a good actor. I mean, what he's been in most recently that I think a lot of people are going to think of is Eternals.
That's all I can think of. That's all I've
Eternals was, gosh, so bad. He was a voice actor in Across the Spider-Verse, which, you know, some people really like that. Then he was Megatron in Transformers 1 in 2024. But beside that, I mean, we've gotten some other movies that he's had smaller parts in, like Bullet Train, which, you know, wasn't bad.
I liked Bullet Train, but he wasn't a huge part of that movie.
Right, and that's the issue, is that as a lead character over the past couple of years, it's really only been Eternals, which was god-awful.
And that was the one where, like, they made a big deal about it being, like, the first gay relationship in a Marvel movie, and everybody was like... and everybody knows I'm on a one-man jihad against Eternals, because I'm like, Shang-Chi was better than Eternals. I would watch Shang-Chi over Eternals any day of the week. He was in Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't even remember. Granted, like, the only time I've only seen Godzilla vs. Kong once, and I saw the other one, the 2024 one, once. Both times in hotel rooms.
The New Empire, yeah.
I saw both of them once in hotel rooms while doing other things and not really paying attention. And it's just like, when you look at him, he doesn't have what I would call the gravitas that a Billy D. Williams had when the Batman came out in 1989. And Billy D. Williams has kind of carried that gravitas over the decades, and you can kind of see it there as who he was. And this is oddly enough, this is what Grace Randolph is basically saying, is that, you know, a race swap can work, but maybe not, but could, but not with this actor. Which I thought was the most interesting. Like, if you can't even get Grace Randolph on your side, then you got a problem here. She said, "I really hope this isn't true. It is just all wrong for the characters in the movie. Race bending Harvey Dent would be tricky, but as talented as he is, Brian Tyree Henry is the wrong actor to pull it off." And this is kind of what I've been pointing out, and I'll get to your 20 in a second here, not that Jon Stewart, which is that when these types of swaps happened in the past, it happened with actors of consequence that everybody knew. And what I always said, it wasn't even necessarily whether that actor turned in a great performance. What it was, in my mind, is that you gave the producers plausible deniability that this wasn't for any type of social reasoning. This wasn't something that was done to further a political agenda. It's like, if you cast Will Smith in your movie, you're doing so because it's Will Smith, not because he's of a specific race. Because Will Smith is a name that you can bank on. And in my opinion, he did do a great. And I liked the Arrowverse version. I forget that actor's name, but the guy who played Deadshot in the Arrowverse version of the show was also a lot of fun. And it was great, and I thought it was fantastic. But Will Smith doing it also worked because Will Smith is a recognizable actor who can turn in a pretty decent performance. I'm sure anybody in the chat can come up with a couple of names where they of actors that they didn't even realize the character was race swapped until after the fact. I mean, that is true of Nick Fury as well, and nobody thinks of the character as anything other than Samuel L. Jackson now, but that's Samuel L. Jackson. Makes perfect sense. Not that Jon Stewart gave us a 20. Says, growing up watching Batman the Animated Series, Dent Two-Face was black there too, but I agree this guy ain't it. Yeah, I left the animated versions off that. I tended to not, I was looking up who the different iterations of the character were in recent memory, because obviously the one most people will think about is Aaron Eckhart from The Dark Knight, because that's the one that gets the most screen time out of all of them. But then people forgot that there was actually a version of Harvey Dent in Joker 2 in the courtroom scene.
That's true, yeah.
Wait, was that you that we made watch that with us?
Yes.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that.
We watched Joker 2 together. Well, I was very excited for it. That was the last time I was there. You know what? I'm good after that. But no, I was really excited for Joker 2. And then, well, We see how it turned out.
And then it happened, right?
Yeah.
So
rough.
Grace followed up. She says, most people, including myself, are not saying that Harvey Dent can't be black. Instead, we are saying Brian Tyree Henry is the wrong actor to portray that character. Harvey Dent is a pretty boy aristocrat, which helps him politically and puts him in the same circles as Bruce Wayne. So I guess depending on the age, I just did a quick, fast fan casting of who I would do if I was looking for an actor who now has a recognizable profile, could play that kind of dapper version of the character that embodies both a sense of perhaps idealism and charisma, but also ambition. And I would just cast Sterling K. Brown. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that would be a good choice.
He fits it. He's first of all, like, and I don't mean this to be mean, but Brian Tyree Henry, he's kind of hefty. He is. And the most recent iterations of that character just aren't that, unless there's an animated version that perhaps leans into that. But Aaron Eckhart did not look like that. Obviously, Tommy Lee Jones did not look like that. Sterling K. Brown, he's in shape. He could absolutely pull off both the charismatic side at the beginning, and then also perhaps pull off the vengeful side later on. I've seen him play good guys and bad guys across the board, and I've also seen him play a character that was like when he was in the show Person of Interest, he played a cop that everybody thought was corrupt but wasn't. So he can play a character that seems to embody aspects of what might seem like a dual identity, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with trying to go with that. But again, what do you think about the idea of Harvey Dent of Sebastian Stan playing a character like a Victor Zsasz? It makes the most sense to stick with a character that's perhaps less fantastical and stay at the ground level, given the type of movie that Matt Reeves made in the first Batman.
Yeah, so I like Sebastian Stan. I do think that he's a pretty good actor, and so that I think that's probably why I was so sold on the idea of him as Dent. If he was Victor Zsasz, I think that he also could probably pull that off. I actually feel like he's a pretty well-rounded actor. I don't feel like he's got any major weaknesses, whether that's like the tone of his voice or the way that he speaks or even, the way that he looks. He's pretty good all around, and so I'm excited to see what they're doing with him, though, if he's not actually going to be Dent. Because now there's so many different roles that he could be playing. I'm just worried that there are too many big actors that they've cast and that good characters are going to be thrown to the side, like with the Penguin. Colin Farrell has said that he's going to be in the movie for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
That sounds really disappointing given how well the Penguin did.
And the size of his profile as an actor.
Yeah.
Like Colin Farrell being who he is. Like, do you want to put Scarlett Johansson in the movie for like 20% of it? Like, you don't want to do that.
Well, apparently they do.
And there is such a thing. I mean, and that's a pretty consistent issue with sequels, is like everybody remembers like The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which had like 97 characters in it. Once it gets crowded, it gets harder to tell a good story. And the benefit of a movie like a Matt Reeves Batman is that it doesn't need to be high octane. Now that's let me say this from my own perspective. I gave an okay review to the Batman when it came out. Later, I just got annoyed. I'm like, 3 hours long. Are you kidding me? The tone is dour. I get why people like it, but it's not my type of... tonally, it wasn't my favorite of the Batman movies. But a movie like that benefits from less characters because you can slow it down and focus, and you've got great actors that you've signed on to this project. So give Sebastian Stan and Scarlett Johansson a lot to work with together, perhaps, and don't cut them down, because the movie doesn't need to be all over the place and full of constant chaos and drama, or constant chaos and explosions. You do need action sequences, but you would do better to let Sebastian Stan play like an evil dude and build suspense. Like I said, let him playing a serial killer like a Victor Zsasz and showing him like putting the marks on his body every time he kills someone. There's something interesting that could be done there. You would just have to be willing to kind of let the story breathe more.
Yeah, I really liked the Batman. I'm a fan of it. There were a couple of moments that I've obviously heavily criticized, like Zoe Kravitz and her whole white men are evil comment, which was extremely cringeworthy. And, because she's not coming back, I think that that is also a major issue for this movie, because now we're not going to have Catwoman. But I'm curious to see if they're going to lean way more into the action, or if they are going to slow it down and it's going to be a more darker, slower paced detective film, because I feel like in part that is why they want so many big named actors, so that people don't complain so much about a slower pace, because I don't see how else you would have all of these crazy Batman action sequences when you also have to put the spotlight on these other major characters.
Yeah, and if it's like, if the idea is, I mean, it'd be interesting to do it as more of like a whodunit. And if you have enough big name actors, you can kind of leave that open to, you know, like if you're like me and you watch a lot of network television, you know who the bad guy is most of the time because you know the actor that's bigger than the rest of the people there. And a lot of times if the final scene requires some bad guy twirling his mustache or giving a great monologue about why he did what he did, most of the time they leaned into giving that to the actor that people liked or who they had heard of because they had a proven track record. But if you cast a bunch of great actors, they can lean into those elements, and Batman can interact with all of them, and they can all give great performances.
Yes. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a lot of question marks with this movie right now, which is the big issue, is we don't know truly which of these rumors are even correct. And so it's like we're speculating about the potential Victor Zsasz storyline, which sounds cool, but we also had previously gotten excited about him playing Harvey Dent, and that didn't turn out to be true.
Yeah. So we will have to wait and see. It'll be interesting. I do hope they get it done soon, though, because I don't want, like 60-year-old Robert Pattinson playing Batman. We need to get him in and out of these movies before he turns 50. He's got to be in his 40s now, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, guys, Let's move on. Let's talk about the fact that Fox just purchased Roku. Now, on its face, I know that doesn't sound like the most interesting thing in the world, but I do think that it matters because we are dealing more and more in Hollywood with the concept of consolidation. These big, large firms are buying more and more companies, and really what you're going to be left with after it's all said and done is what they've kind of always said, which is the illusion of choice. If you think back, if you're a woman, I'm sure there's at least one woman watching this show right now that is Vara. There's at least one woman watching this show right now, and if you've ever read, say, GQ or Glamour or Vanity Fair or Vogue, all owned by Condé Nast. You think you have choice. It is the illusion of choice. Or if you're in our space here and you talk about pop culture and Hollywood, Variety, Deadline, The Hollywood Reporter, Rolling Stone, all owned by Penske Media. You really think that you're going to get unique voices and interesting ideas from all of these companies, but really they're all parroting the same lines because they're all owned by the same people, which is why you end up getting women's magazines talking about social justice rather than talking about women's issues, because they're all going down the same rabbit holes and following the same stuff. Now, when we're talking about Fox buying Roku, they spent just a measly $22 billion. That's all. Just $22 billion. I'm surprised David Zaslav didn't find it under his... I'm surprised David Ellison didn't find it under his couch cushions to purchase it along with Warner Brothers and have that be part of Skydance Media. But the thing is that Roku now is joining Tubi. Fox already owns Tubi, so they will both be owned by the same company. And the big reason that they're doing this isn't just to own another streaming service, though they operate under different, they have different goals. One is AVOD, which is just ad included video on demand. And the other one is what's called FAST, which is free ad supported streaming television, which is like, you click on a channel. It's a channel that, has a variety of shows, but you don't get to choose what they're watching. You just choose a channel to watch. Whereas Tubi is like, you get to choose the show and the movie that you're watching. And so what they're really buying when they buy Roku is access to like 100 million people's data, which is the real reason that they're doing this, at least if you were to ask me.
Right.
And there's no way this doesn't get approved because the government, at least the U.S. government, just approved Paramount buying Warner Brothers. So your choices are less and less, more and more consolidation. Is this something, and the other thing is less choices means higher prices, because there's less places that you can go if you want to do that. Now, I know that like we've talked in this channel about the dream of like one big corporation owning all of it, so I don't have to pay for 30. Like I'd rather pay $100 a month to one place rather than $10 a month to 10 places. But the point is that you're never going to get all the things you want. And without people competing against each other for your business, there's no reason for them to do better. They can just do whatever they want. And since you don't have a lot of choices, what are you going to do about it? There's nothing you can do. Is this going on in video games as well?
Yes, it is. So, obviously when it comes to all of these TV show and movie subscription services, the whole point initially was it's going to be cheaper for people. Oh, you only have to buy the subscription that you want, and then you get to consume the content you want for $10 a month instead of having to pay for cable and paying for all of these additional package fees for $130 a month because you save money. But now everything's a subscription. And so you ultimately don't end up saving money. But when it comes to video games, we do see sort of the subscription war also happening where every company wants a subscription. You have the PlayStation Network / PlayStation Plus, which you get online. You also do get like some free games. You get discounts. The major one in video games is Xbox with Xbox Game Pass. And they have sort of been in panic mode with Game Pass recently because they have felt like they have dominated millions and millions of subscribers, though recently actually canceled their subscriptions because they raised the price by $10.
Oh my God.
They backtracked a few weeks ago and said, we're backtracking. We're not charging that anymore, but it went from 20 to 30 and now it's going to be like 24 for the max tier, which is insane. But obviously we see what is happening with Xbox right now, and who knows, where that situation is going to end and how many people are going to get fired and laid off and how many studios are going to close. But yeah, I mean, there is sort of the subscription war happening there too.
Is this are the days of just physical games gone now?
No, they're not. I mean, obviously there are a lot of people who buy digital now. The split is still roughly 80% digital, 20% physical. It's been speculated though that it is actually a little bit higher for physical, though. An issue happening with physical now that we see in video games is game key cards. So like for the Nintendo Switch 2, there are some games that you will buy the box and the cartridge for, but as soon as you put it in, you have to download the entire game anyway. And so then it's just a hunk of plastic.
It's like if you want it, like the people I feel worse than anybody right now for are WWE fans. If you want to watch WWE, you have to have like 9 different places locked down. So Raw's on Netflix, SmackDown's on the USA Network, NXT's on the CW, pay-per-views are in different networks. They used to be on Peacock, then now it's ESPN and all of these other places. And it's like by the time you're done, you're paying $100 and some a month just to be able to watch wrestling. And that's like what people are almost kind of working against now. It's like, I bet you there's going to be people one day that are going to be like, you know what? I'll take it. Just give me one streaming service to rule them all.
It's kind of a circle.
Yeah. Like you're going to end up back where you were, like with the cable packages. And that the problem is then they don't have to compete for your business. Now, the reason why I was never a fan of the idea of Netflix getting a hold of Warner Brothers is I never trusted that they were going to make good and then stay good on the idea of releasing movies in theaters for 45 days at least. Look at what's going on with like Obsession right now with these incredible box office holds. They have pushed back the release of it on streaming because they're like, well, we've got a movie that's making a crap ton of money. Why the hell would we release it on streaming right now? There's no reason to do that. If a company owns all the properties, then there's nothing that can be done about the fact that you won't have any choices to do so. And now I saw that Netflix is looking to buy another company as well. I forget what it was, and I have to go and look that up today. on top of the fact that they lost out on Warner Brothers. So
Right.
it's video game wise is like, so it's mainly just Xbox and PlayStation if you want the passes though, correct? But also Steam, right?
For what? What for Steam?
Like you can buy games off Steam though. Like,
oh yeah, Steam is just buying games.
Yeah.
Steam doesn't have it like a subscription service or anything like that. It's just a digital storefront.
it's I would rather, and that's kind of what Amazon is now on the media front. Like when it comes to movies and television shows, there have been shows that I've bought on Amazon Prime just because they're too inconsistent on other streaming services, and I would just buy them there just to have access to them. They
Right.
literally beat me into submission. Like I used to hate the Amazon user interface. Now it's like the easiest one to use just because the most stuff that I watch is on either Amazon or Hulu. And now Disney and Hulu are going to merge into one app in the next year too.
Yeah, there's some people that believe that that's not going to happen. I think that it will, but they could also just raise the prices individually and keep them separate, but they could just merge them and then raise the price in general because
What are
they
you gonna
know
do?
that right, that they know that you're going to swipe your credit card on it anyway. That's what happened a couple of years ago with Crunchyroll and Funimation. So Sony ended up owning both, and now they basically have a Western anime monopoly. Yes, there are some alternatives like High Dive, even Netflix, and Hulu has some anime, but the Crunchyroll or Crunchymation, whatever you'd like to call it, beast ended up sort of being a partial monopoly. And they know, hey, you're going to subscribe anyway because you want to watch your anime.
I was right, by the way. It was Lionsgate that Netflix is looking to buy, which is just
Oh, yes.
which
I
is
saw that a little while ago.
I posted a meme, or not even a meme. I posted a logo the other day. Did you know that Lionsgate Plus is a real thing? There's like I was like, who the fuck
It is?
Who are the 3 people on planet Earth that have Lionsgate Plus?
I've never heard anybody say that they pay for that.
Well, apparently what it is it's a license thing. Like it can't be like in like the UK, they don't have stars. So stars
Okay.
in the UK is like Lionsgate Plus, and I'm like, can you
Right.
imagine being like somebody? Because I'm never gonna have MGM Plus. I'm
No.
sorry, I'm not gonna do it. But yeah, it says Netflix is reportedly eyeing Lionsgate after losing Roku bid to Fox. So they tried to buy Roku. They can't buy, so they couldn't
can't buy
Warner
anything.
Brothers. So the idea is supposed to be that they thought they were going to buy Warner Brothers, but then that failed, and they couldn't even buy Roku from Fox, who sold all their assets back in 2019 to Disney, which by the way was a genius move on their part because they've cornered a completely separate market. Basically, a lot of people don't understand that Fox News and Fox Corp are different than 20th Century Studios and 20th Century Fox, the movie studio. Basically, what they did is the Murdochs sold Disney their like studio and their movie assets and their entertainment assets, and then used that money to buy Tubi and start making money through advertising by owning a separate streaming service, now acquiring another one just 6 years later. And they only paid like a minuscule $440 million for Tubi when they bought
man,
it.
that's not a lot of money at all in
No.
terms of these companies.
Again, I made a joke earlier about David Ellison having $22 billion under the couch cushions. Rupert Murdoch might actually have $440 million under a couch cushion somewhere.
Believable.
Completely plausible. So your options are becoming more and more limited, and the thing is just like the magazines. Like you'll be like, I'm gonna go check out what's on Tubi, and by the way, I do go back and forth between the two. Roku destroyed their viewership experience by making Howdy. Howdy's like a $2.99 streaming service that has like minimal content on there, but it's like any other streaming service. You then can watch it without ads, but it's on the same UI as regular Roku. So
Right.
like you'll click on a show thinking you can watch it with ads, and then no, it's on Howdy and you can't watch it even with ads. You have to pay for Howdy to watch the show Revolution from 2012 or something like that. So they ruined their user experience, and now they're both owned by the same company, so you're going to go between the two. There's no reason to consolidate those two together, and they've kind of made points about that they don't expect those two to merge, because why would you limit your ability to sell ads? Like, why would you, like, theoretically, you could merge it on down to one streaming service and then charge more for ads, but they do better to keep their footprint wide and have a larger ad rate for their stuff a smaller ad rate, but more stuff to sell between the two streaming services. So
Right. And then when things end up getting, consolidated or purchased by the same parent company, you end up with the same tired narratives constantly being pushed by all of their writers or their content creators, whatever,
like Variety and Deadline.
Right. And, Ziv Davis bought up most of the gaming magazines and completely buried them all.
Here's this is a great list. It's who owns Hollywood, the major studio and streamer ownership as of June 15th, 2026, because these things are always changing. Like they've got here major studio group, Warner Brothers Discovery, because they are not quite yet owned by Paramount, though they will be, which is Paramount which is Warner Brothers Pictures, New Line Cinema, DC Studios, Warner Brothers Pictures Animation, and then obviously they have both HBO Max and and Discovery Plus. Then you look at I think Disney's probably the best example of like that type of consolidation. It's not just Disney, it's Lucasfilm, 20th Century Studios, Searchlight, Marvel, Pixar, all of that. And then, people talked about Obsession being purchased by Focus Features. Well, who owns Focus Features? Well, it's Comcast / NBC Universal who owns Comcast. So it's just, I like how Netflix is just Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix down here is just Netflix film, Netflix series, Netflix animation, because nobody will sell to them, apparently.
Right.
It's very, very sad. And then Apple TV, Apple Originals, Apple Streaming. But for the most part, it is the illusion of choice, and it's a sad thing to see. Is there any hope in the video game landscape that you're going to see some change there?
I think that it's very tough when it comes to the video game industry because it's such a big industry at this point. I mean, the video game industry in 2025 brought in over $200 billion, and it's very similar in terms of the illusion of choice because Xbox. And, there's been so much news about Xbox over the past couple of days. They own so many different studios, but yet you think, oh my gosh, this developer's different. Ultimately, it's the same people that are leading the same conversation and pushing the same sort of content. There are a lot of independent creators with video games, indie scene, double A's, but man, oh man, I mean, there are a lot of problems when it comes to who owns what, because you do have the largest companies, which end up being Sony, Tencent, Microsoft / Xbox. You do have Nintendo, but Nintendo stays by itself. But it honestly is very similar. And then when you get into the media aspect, oh boy, all of the largest video game news outlets are all owned by the same sources. Again, like I just had mentioned a minute or two ago, Ziff Davis bought up most of the gaming magazines and buried them all.
Is IGN count there, or is IGN different? It's more multimedia?
IGN is Ziff Davis.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like Kotaku. Well, what are the other big ones besides Kotaku and IGN?
Kotaku, Polygon, The Gamer, IGN. Kotaku isn't owned by Ziff Davis. Kotaku is currently owned by Kellops. They're a Swiss-based media company, but they also then own like Geo Media. They sort of rebranded because they purchased Gawker. So
after Gawker got sold off because of the Hulk Hogan lawsuit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. No, it was Peter Thiel who funded the Gawker lawsuit, if I remember correctly. Look.
Yeah, because that Gawker had launched 2004, and then it was acquired by Univision in like 2016 as part of the purchase. But yeah.
Yep. All right, it's guys, the choices are going to be fewer and fewer as it goes on. It's really, really sad. Do what I've been doing, which is put everything you have on like a Plex server and just watch that way. That way you can, it's easier. I have an MB server with all my shows and movies on there. It would be a bitch to do now, because if you're going to do it now, you'd have to like, especially if you want to do TV shows, like imagine having to like download every single episode of a show that would take, I'm sure there's like programs now that can do it really, really fast, but even even just in the vein of having to like literally upload every disc. But I'm not putting a new disc in every 4 episodes. I'm not doing that. They can't make me. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the fact that we are in a never-ending, soul-crushing loop of left-right people yelling at each other and talking shit and being annoying. And frankly, I'm just getting bored and tired out of all of it. And I guess this all started the other night during the UFC fight when we saw that. Did you see this clip, Vara, where he called Michelle Obama a man?
I did.
Okay. I'm not gonna screen share. I'm just gonna play it for the audience so they can hear it. I'm sure there's somebody who has seen this. My point here is this, guys, before we watch any of this stuff, because don't worry, we're not just gonna show this clip and talk about how it's stupid. We're gonna talk about this Ian McKellen clip and talk about how that is stupid and how we now live, at least if you exist on this side of the internet, we live in this endless left-right paradigm loop where it's just basically what happens is everyone has just accepted that you're going to say things that are uncouth. Then the other side is going to say, how dare you? Then they're going to say something that is uncouth. And then you're going to say, how dare you? And it's just going to go over and over and over again. And I feel like we as human beings deserve something more. But let's listen to what he had to say at the beginning here.
Alex Pereira, I want a shama on your mama. And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America?
I'm surprised Joe Rogan didn't do the thing that he does from the meme when he did that. And I saw this, and look, maybe I'm that friend that's too woke. But I'm like, this was supposed to be an event that was celebrating America. There was a potential opportunity here to reach across the aisle and maybe just celebrate the United States. Leave the people who are talking shit about UFC and motocross backflips, leave them outside complaining, because that was happening too. They're like, this is unbecoming of America, blah, 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 blah. Leave them out there, perfectly in line with what the average everyday dad in middle America wants to see. This stuff is perfect. And there was a chance here to just leave it out of it. Not to say that you have to change your opinions, not to say that we all have to sing Kumbaya, but there was a day that you could have just left it out of it, and I would have loved that. Now, I understood that that's not how anybody who is politically right takes things anymore, and I get it, right? They call Trump a pedophile, they call you a Nazi, and they laugh at the fact that Charlie Kirk was murdered. Okay, I understand that it's not actually plausible. If anything, I'm kind of singing praises of an idea that isn't really, fundamentally possible in the year 2026 in American politics, given how polarizing everything is. But here's the problem. For one moment, I was like, okay, maybe they could have taken the high road, even though I know fundamentally that's not going to happen. And then literally like 10 seconds later, I saw this clip of Ian McKellen where he's talking about how, when he was shooting a scene for Avengers Doomsday, he talked about how he imagined destroying Mar-a-Lago. So let's listen to what he has to say here.
They got me to destroy New Jersey.
E mi fanno distruggere il New Jersey a un certo punto.
And the director shouted to me, Ian, look more furious.
E il regista mi ha detto no, devi avere un'espressione più furiosa.
More. He said, make it look as if you hate what you're destroying.
E mi diceva devi avere l'aria di uno che odia ciò che sta
He said, and now shout something.
Mi ha detto urla qualcosa.
I said, Mar-a-Lago!
So he said Mar-a-Lago. So that's
Old
what it is.
man yells at cloud.
Old man yells at cloud. And this is what I mean. I'm tired, bro. I'm tired of everything. I accept that there is no benefit in American politics from trying to be the bigger person, because what you're getting now is a bunch of people pearl clutching and saying, how dare you say that about Michelle Obama, despite the fact that all you have to do is find any person who tweeted that. You can go look at their tweets and search Charlie Kirk, search Donald Trump. You'll find equally vicious tweets, and it's just proof that it's hypocrisy on all sides. But I don't think it's unfair to just be tired of it.
Right. I've seen today quite a few articles releasing from like USA Today saying Michelle Obama left the White House almost 10 years ago and the abuse keeps on coming. And of course, trying to say that she is this poor, sad victim. But the problem is that things have become so extreme by the left that there are people that feel like, you know what, you are going to call me all of these terrible things anyway. And so I'm going to make fun of you. I'm going to meme on you. And if you are going to get upset over a joke or a simple statement, like that is on you. The left doesn't reach across the aisle by and large. They are harsher as a group than the right because more moderates have gone to the right. The moderates had been pushed from the left by the left.
I would like to think that that's me. Like I'm the person who's like I'm the person who foolishly every time something like this happens is like, I would love some decorum. I know it's not going to happen, but I can foolishly continue to hope for it.
Yeah, I would hope that as well. But I'm also somebody who goes on social media and says whatever comes to the top of my mind because I just don't care. But we live in a very soft, society now, which is also a major problem.
Yeah. And the thing is, I see no off ramp here. Like I see no off ramp because there is no benefit either like straight to the point or even tangentially to being the bigger person because neither side is going to be willing. The most extreme actors on both sides aren't going to be willing to give you the benefit of the doubt. They're just not, right? So what do you do in that respect? I don't know. I don't know if there's a path forward. Like a UFC fight, dirt bikes, air shows, quintessential like things that make you say like America, fuck yeah. And that should be a universally lovable thing. Maybe not by everyone, but a great majority of people are going to be like, you know what? Air shows are cool. You know what? Dirt bikes are cool. You know what? Dudes battling for a chance at victory.
Right.
Cool. But also, let's not leave out Ian McKellen. Marvel should be escapist entertainment. It should be something that's inviting to everybody. It should not be something that you draw down on political lines for. And I understand that actors are never going to be, at least not anymore. They're no longer incentivized to have an air of mystery. There isn't really even a way for them to be successful at that stage now. They're incentivized to have massive social media platforms and to overshare. It benefits them more than anything. Ian McKellen might be one of the rare examples of somebody who doesn't need to do that. He's perfectly capable to exist without that. But 20 years ago, you wouldn't have had access to this behind-the-scenes event he was doing promoting a movie in a foreign country. You would have maybe seen it on a DVD bonus feature 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And there are a lot of companies now that basically view their, actors as making these political statements as some big positive situation. And like, this is so good. But I don't think that Ian McKellen needs to do that. Now, he has always been pretty vocal when it comes to who he is and his opinions. And I think that a lot of people would be able to just write this off as, again, old man yelling at the sky and yelling at the cloud. But because he's been in so many amazing things and he's done such a good job over the duration of his career, but we are beat over the head by this so constantly by actors that now we can't just sort of look the other way when somebody like this makes a statement like this.
Funnily enough, I like to pick on Mark Ruffalo, but my point is more that like as stupid as his political opinions are, Hulk is like he's least talented when he's playing the Hulk. He's actually known to be a really good actor doing stuff other than Marvel, right? So he gets a lot of leeway from people. And even if I like to dunk on him, that's the other thing is like people on the right are going to be, and this is something the left refuses to admit that I find infuriating, which is like people on the right are always looking for that ability to be like, you know what? I don't like the stuff he has to say, but he did great in that role. They want to show you that they're going to be objective when they're reviewing this stuff, or you would hope that, right? You would hope that they're willing to set their thoughts aside. This is where I always make the joke is like, all I ever remember about people, I never remember specifics outside of some kind of like egregious examples, and none of which are even coming to the top of my head. All I remember, actor said something kind of stupid. And that's really it. Like every time I see, I almost said Jeffrey Wright, But I forget the dude from Jack Ryan, but not what's his name? But who's the actor from Jack Ryan now? John Krasinski, but the other guy that Wendell Pierce. So Wendell Pierce is known to say stupid stuff on social media, but I don't ever remember exactly what it is. I just know that I like him as an actor, and he says stupid stuff from time to time, and that's perfectly fine. But it's not like they're going to give Dean Cain, if they were watching Dean Cain movies, they're going to give Dean Cain the benefit of the doubt if he turns in a great performance in a movie.
Right, exactly. But
it's so depressing.
It really is. It's also sad that, we have to pick between sort of supporting actors based on their opinion, because I have to say this all the time. I should not have to care about what your political opinion is. I shouldn't have to care about your sexuality. I shouldn't have to care about your culture. None of these things should matter, but these people make it their personality. And then you have people on the left who threaten people's lives. So here we're talking about, in the case of, UFC, we're talking about a guy making fun of a woman, but the left threatens people's lives. And so that is a very clear problem and a very big difference in conversation. But yeah, generally, I shouldn't have to care about what your political opinion is. If you can leave it at the door when you go to work, that is great and fantastic. But these people are activists, and activism comes first and foremost to them. And hey, they're allowed to have their opinions, but doesn't mean I have to support them if they want to make them the center of their career.
This is happening with that dude who had that movie that came out recently that bombed, Nate Bargatze, the comedian, where they're like, he took a picture with like RFK, and he was at the UFC event. I didn't send this to you, but I just thought about this now. It says MAGA Nate Bargatze. That was clever. That was clever. I used to enjoy Chick-fil-A, and then I learned the owners are bigots, and I haven't eaten there for 25 years. I used to enjoy Nate Bargatze, but then I learned that he thinks fascism is funny. I miss Chick-fil-A every now and then, but I don't think I'll miss him. And this person says, it's pretty rich watching people bash Nate Bargatze for showing up at a UFC fight while posting their outrage online. Mark Zuckerberg was sitting there too, and unlike Nate, Mark has made billions of dollars off of data and attention of very people clutching their pearls. And then this guy, nah, I loved that guy. I generally don't do boycotts, but I'm done with him. It's 2026. If you don't know who the Nazis are, I don't need to hear any more from you. That's right. He's a Nazi because he went to a UFC fight. Like, you can't come back from this. Like, this type of fracturing is just, it's not something that you can come back from easily. It's very, very depressing.
Yes, I 100% agree.
All right, let's move on. Let's do the cue of the day. Again, when Mary's not here, and also when Olivia's not here, because Mary and Olivia both give their own cringe for the show. I don't do cringe because I love you guys. I'm not going to make you guys look at cringe, especially the type of weaponized cringe that they make you guys watch, which always makes you question your will to live. But we do have cute of the day here. First from Steven, it says, Halloween pick. Her name is Tootsie.
Aww.
Tootsie is very cute.
So freaking adorable.
Looks crocheted. Did you do that yourself, or did like a family member do that for you? It looks like, actually, you know what it looks like? It looks like somebody took like a grandma's doily for like a drink and cut it out in the middle.
Yeah, sort of.
I like it.
10 out of 10.
And then this one from Hagfish, Suki, the baby Old English sheepdog. That is a very cute dog right there. I like it.
Very scruffly.
As always, guys, if you want your pets to be featured on Cute of the Day, just submit them to me on X. Use the hashtag PCCPets on there. I can find them that way. I don't know if hashtags actually work anymore. I was told that they don't. But when I look up things with the hashtag PCCPets, it shows up. So go ahead and check that out there. All right, we've got more stuff to get into, and I've been covering Supergirl since the pre-release box office numbers, the early forecast predictions started coming out. There was a slight boost and uptick in the possible numbers for Supergirl after the release of the last trailer, but now it looks like those numbers are once again falling, and it is not looking good for this movie. Now it is looking like it may come in under the Marvels in its opening weekend box office projections, $45 to $55 million. If you want a comparison, The Flash, yes, that one, the movie, not the Grant Gustin TV show, opened to $55 million. That amount, that's at the high end of that projection and bombed at the box office. It is even at the high end, that's like barely above where the Marvels was, and the Marvels finished with $206 million. It could end up losing to Toy Story 2 in Toy Story 2's second weekend, and I can absolutely see that happening.
Good.
Not interested
Yes.
in seeing this one?
Man, Look, I've liked Supergirl previously. I've also liked Millie Alcock. I thought that she was really good in House of the Dragon, but I have absolutely no interest in this version of Supergirl, in the way that she's talked about Supergirl, even with the trailers themselves, putting all of the sort of, controversy aside. I think that the trailers haven't seemed that solid.
They're kind of mediocre, huh? Like,
it's really wild that they've missed such a golden opportunity, because Supergirl should, in theory, be able to at least make some money. Like, there should be some more hype, but at the same time, Superman didn't even do all that amazing, and so
but still had a $125 million opening domestically.
True.
And this isn't going to do that. This is doing
Right.
way less than that, because she doesn't have, like, Superman has the connotation of being pro-America. Supergirl doesn't have that same connotation for the character.
Exactly. And with Superman, it made $625 million altogether, and the budget for that was $230 million, right around there, I believe. This Supergirl movie has a budget of $180 million, and so that means they're expecting it to most likely do $500 million, maybe even $550. I don't see a way that could ever happen.
Yeah, it says the box office, the $45 million floor is the lowest projection yet. It is the second major tracking outlet to talk about this. This is being reported by more than just one outlet now, which is the problem. Like, when I originally read this from Box Office Pro, like, people were really, this is what I thought was really funny. I'm just going to read you this part here. I found this after I sent you the articles. It says, after several long gestating attempts to bring Supergirl to the big screen, she makes her debut as the lead of this year after James Gunn's introduction to the character of Superman last year, with a $125 million debut before legging it out to a total of $354.2 million domestic haul, making it the fifth highest grossing title to hit the screens in 2025. Our $45 to $55 million opening range puts Supergirl more in line, though still below, Aquaman, which opened to $67.8 million domestically. By the way, that movie made $1 billion, but it made $800 million of that $1 billion overseas, not in America.
That's wild to me.
So it says, or Black Adam, which opened to $67 million. It is also fair to point out, I don't know if they mention it in here, I read it somewhere, both of those movies, not summer releases. So a lighter box office opening makes sense if you're dealing with a fall or a winter release for a movie where you're expecting longer holds, potentially if it's coming out over the holiday season. Here it is. It says, notably, neither Aquaman nor Black Adam were summer releases. While our forecasting panel doesn't expect Supergirl to approach the opening weekend box office performances of midsummer DCU titles like Wonder Woman, which opened to $103 million domestic. Yeah, and that's $103 million in 2017 money, which is a lot more. That's a lot more tickets than $103 million today, almost a decade later. Or Man of Steel, which opened to $116 million. Current tracking indicates the possibility of a better debut than June 2023's The Flash. We also expect a higher debut than the film Furiosa. Well, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But this is what I thought was funny about it. I thought that was a pretty fair estimated breakdown. I didn't see a whole lot of editorializing, just some examples they give as their reasoning for where they're putting it as far as their projections. And this is a comment. It says, what a fucking lazy lowball on Supergirl. No trackers see as low as 45 million. So what is this crap 45 to 55 million when pretty much every other track it has it at 55 million or more? And then this comment down here says, this site has gone downhill since 2024. That's why I hardly ever come here these days. That's just, they want people to tell them what they want to hear. When a site that I check for box office news, I still get most of my numbers and stuff from Variety or Deadline because, they're going to report on the numbers after the fact, and they give, early morning updates on box offices and stuff like that. Like, I don't get mad when they're wrong. If Cosmic Book News says a movie's going to do well and doesn't, or says a movie's going to do bad and it does well, I'm not like, I'm mad at these people for doing that. And that's from a site that, basically outlines, says this is not just news reporting, this is also editorial and analysis. If you're getting mad because they're telling you something you don't want to hear, it's because you've grown too attached to the idea of this movie being successful, in which case I would say that it probably has less to do with the movie and more to do with identity politics.
I would agree with that.
For instance, I liked Masters of the Universe. I
did too.
You
thought
did?
It was pretty good.
Oh, yeah. we should have done that today. We should have done a secondary review. I had a lot of fun with it. I think that their joke structure is formulaic and got to be a little bit annoying by the end, as it was like Marvel humor on steroids. But I didn't go into it looking for the usual suspects. I didn't go into it looking for Citizen Kane. It pretty much gave me exactly what I wanted from the movie.
I thought it was going to be worse based on some of the jokes that we saw in the teasers and the trailers. And of course, there are some issues that Masters of the Universe fans have, rightfully so, like race swaps. But ultimately, I thought that it was pretty fun. I got enjoyment out of it. If they made a sequel, that's definitely not going to happen at this point. How much money they're going to lose.
I think it will. I'm coming along to the line that I don't think Amazon. I think that Amazon has enough incentive to do more, and that they spend this much money on the budget for movies that go straight to streaming. And I do think that there is a reason for them to go ahead and do this as far as keeping the IP alive for them, given their purchase. I do. I don't like the argument of merch sales, because that's going to Mattel for the most part, outside of outside of merch that might be specifically branded as the Amazon MGM characters. Maybe there's some type of profit sharing with something like that. But I don't see a reason for them to not go forward, perhaps with a smaller budget, but to make another one. I understand that it's going to be a huge loss at the box office, but I could imagine them doing it, or at the very least, looking to spin off into additional IP that they would put on streaming, which would be a shame, because the movie was fun to watch in the theaters.
Yeah, I thought that it was pretty good all around. I also really loved this part, which was so hilarious, was when Adam as a kid was naming all of them and how their names were actually created. I thought that was really good. Like the Fisto jokes and the Ram Man jokes were all pretty comical. But yeah, I don't think that it was the best movie I've ever seen by any stretch of the means, but I would watch a sequel.
Yeah, so my critique was more like, it wasn't even just at about the jokes being cringy. It was that they actually kind of break immersion when you use the same format for every joke, which is like the tension starts to rise. You think you're going to get something serious. It's like if they switched it up and they switched the type of joke structure throughout the show. Whereas one of the problems with Marvel humor is that it gives the same type of humor to all the characters.
Yes.
Which is that it's not inherent to their character, it's inherent to the writer's structure. Whereas if they want to make Tila funny, but in a different way than Adam, because Adam's not funny, haha. Adam's funny, something happens to him.
Right. And he gets embarrassed over the thing that happens.
Yeah. But none of that stopped me from enjoying the movie, and I'm not mad at people for reporting on the like I said, the movie's probably going off a cliff in week 2, and it did.
Oh, yeah.
In the Gray underperformed and then went off a cliff in week 2 and almost disappeared from theaters. I'm not mad at people for reporting on it, because you can't
should be, obviously.
You can't get emotionally connected to these franchises in that way where you're mad at reality. I guess is kind of the point of things.
I love being mad at reality.
It's you can't do that with these types of movies. It's going to give you a heart attack younger. And here's the other thing about it, which is that these types of movies, funnily enough, it kind of goes in line with Masters of the Universe too. Masters of the Universe, Supergirl, they are part of this genre of IP farmed content that is now very, very front loaded, meaning that they do not have extensive legs at the box office. If you look at the movies that are going to make it to $1 billion this year, well, you've got Super Mario Galaxy that legged it out and just barely made it to $1 billion by having strong repeat performance week after week, not just by having a great box office for 1 or 2 weekends and then getting there. Michael is still theoretically most likely going to get to $1 billion because it's having low drops week after week. And then obviously we have what's going on with Obsession right now, which is a phenomenon where it grew in week 2, it grew in week 3, and it had a minuscule drop in week 4. And it's going to continue to do well because great word of mouth means that people will continue to either show up for multiple showings, or it breaks containment and your dad or mom who never goes to the movies suddenly hears about it and goes to see it. That's how I judge whether a movie has broken containment. If my dad knows that it exists, I know that it's outside of just our internet sphere.
Yeah, and I think a big problem with something like Masters of the Universe is that it was a good movie for what it was, but it was a good streaming movie.
Yes.
And so something like the Super Mario Galaxy movie or Dune or even the Odyssey, the reason why those are going to do good in the theaters is because they are almost designed for theater experiences, and you get an enhanced experience by watching it in the theaters, where something like Masters of the Universe or even Supergirl, I feel like if you're not in a rush to see it and you're not a super DC or super He-Man fan, just wait the few weeks in order to watch it online and on the streaming services.
I actually disagree. I think that this movie, I think you lose some of the bombastic nature of this movie by watching it on streaming. Now, granted, I don't have like the world's greatest setup at home. I don't have a 100-inch flat screen to watch my movies on, but I think that this movie is better immersed in the theater experience with the popcorn, with the snacks and stuff like that. I actually think that this movie, that Masters of the Universe probably, and Supergirl probably would have this problem too, would put me to my phone faster if I was at home.
Fair enough.
I think it actually benefits, because I was like saying, like somebody, people were leaving comments on the video I did on merch saying like, glad people are seeing it. I went and saw it and I really liked it at the theaters. And I'm like, good. I think that you would lose something by going to see it for the first time at home. Maybe you watch it a second time at home. I mean, there hasn't been a movie made in like the last 10 years that I've wanted to watch it, a second time after it came out, except for Top Gun Maverick. But you know what? That's not true. I'm probably going to watch The Sheep Detectives again when it comes out on streaming. The Sheep Detectives was really good. So, are there any other video game movies coming out this year? I don't think there are.
There's a Resident
Street Fighter.
Evil.
It's
Yes, Street Fighter and Resident Evil comes out in September.
From everything I saw on Street Fighter is that it's just another one where it's like it's Street Fighter in name only.
I'm actually pretty excited for it. I think that it looks very fun. Maybe not, the highest level of quality ever, given how many people that they've spent big bucks to actually get in the movie. It feels like a almost nostalgic 90s Street Fighter-esque movie.
Oh,
so
no,
I'm pretty
Street Fighter or Resident Evil?
well. I'm talking about Street Fighter.
Yes. Oh, I'm super looking forward to Street Fighter.
Yeah, I am too. But Resident Evil, the problem with Resident Evil is that they're not following source material very strictly. It's new characters in a pretty enclosed story at the beginning of Resident Evil. But I'm hopeful. I think Zach Kreger has made some really good films in the past. I am cautiously optimistic about it, though, that's for sure. Nobody can seem to get Resident Evil right. You would think that it wouldn't be that hard, but everybody wants to do their own spin on Resident Evil and their own twist on Resident Evil, which becomes the massive problem. It's like with the Silent Hill 2 movie that came out at the beginning of the year. My goodness, they screwed that one up because they decided to change all of the very important elements of it. So, hey, if Zach Kreger actually follows the games a little bit, which he said there is a lot of inspiration and the general pacing is going to be similar, I think that that could be good. But the fact that it doesn't follow any established characters is a major red flag.
Yeah, that seems to be it's like if they tried to make a Metal Gear Solid movie in
And just like added a character named Susan as the main character. Why would anybody want that?
It feels like they're actually terrified. So the thing that I've been saying is like video game movies seem to be the most successful when they can kind of either find something that doesn't have a ton of lore, or at least it's not super well known. Like I really liked the first season of Twisted Metal. I was like, I don't know if there's lore to Twisted Metal because I haven't played it since PlayStation 1, but I had a lot of fun with the show, right? Sonic like has references to the games, but for the most part, they're human stories, and those movies have been very successful. Like when they are getting into stuff where the lore doesn't play a super huge role in why it's popular necessarily, it benefits them because people don't feel so attached to something.
Yeah, and we have had sort of the opposite happen where it's turned out really good. And the Five Nights at Freddy's movies, people sort of go back and forth. The thing is that the characters themselves are unique and they're new characters, but there's so much dense lore and there's so many references that is why it ended up being a mega hit with that fan base. And so there is a middle ground where you can add new elements, but also make it feel really authentic to the games. It just seems that a lot of directors and writers don't care about the games because they're not gamers. And so they're like, hey, I'm going to make a generic zombie movie, but call it Resident Evil. Like Resident Evil fans don't want that. The heart of Resident Evil are the characters. And if you take the characters out of Resident Evil, then it's not that special.
It's why Hollywood wants to make things like Detective Pikachu, because it allows them to just do what they want with it. And and that's a rare example of it actually working, where it actually was extremely financially successful. But let's face it, that's because Pikachu is like, you can sell Pikachu to anybody. But what do you have a favorite and a most hated video game movie?
Ooh, I don't know what my favorite would be.
I love the Hitman movies, by the way. Like as for one, I because I played the first Hitman, but not like, it was so long afterwards when I actually saw the movie that I'm like, I don't even remember.
Yeah, I mean, one of my least favorite was truly and genuinely Borderlands, because we almost saw it and we shifted to seeing Joker, which was, oh my god, so much better. I love that movie. Can't wait to watch that again. But the Borderlands movie was truly a straight up abomination. I absolutely hated that. For my favorites, the thing is I'm okay with a little bit of more cheesy or not super accurate, like the Resident Evil movies that we've previously gotten with Mila Jovovich. She is a good actress and they did a pretty good job. You know, I do like the Sonic movies as well. They're fun, they're cool, they're good popcorn flicks. Same with the Super Mario Bros movie. The second one I was a little bit less enthused with. Galaxy definitely wasn't, you know, as good as the first one, in my opinion. But you know, I'm okay with a little bit of cheese. I'm okay with them not trying to make the most accurate adaptation possible, because ultimately, sometimes going super accurate isn't the best depending on what you're trying to adapt. Like if we got the Minecraft movie and it was just a bunch of block characters, I think that people would have gotten bored of that very quickly.
I think to this day that I still think the two best were the original Tomb Raider and the 1995 Mortal Kombat. Those are still my favorite.
I mean, of course, you know, Angelina Jolie is, she's amazing.
She donkey kicks somebody with a motorcycle in that movie. As far as I'm concerned, that was when cinema peaked, and it's been all downhill ever since.
Absolute cinema, yeah. She did a really great job, though. Also, a couple of years ago, there was a Monster Hunter movie that was okay. I wouldn't say that it's great by.
That was Paul
You know.
W.S. Anderson as well,
Yes.
wasn't it?
Yes,
There you
and
have it.
Mila. Mhm.
So he not only did the Resident Evil movies, he also did the original Mortal Kombat, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same guy. So he has got the magic touch when it comes to it. And I did like that first Hitman movie and even the second one a little bit, because they basically were just espionage thrillers of the time, and depending on if you liked that kind of era where it feels like you're watching a Euro version of a Jason Bourne movie with lots of shaky cam and interesting editing techniques and stuff like that. I
I liked
that
the
stuff.
first. I don't remember the second though.
I think the second one was the one with Timothy Olyphant.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I have them backwards. Somebody in the chat can let me know.
Okay.
If I'm wrong about that. Also, another one, and I refuse to apologize for it. I had fun at the Uncharted movie. I don't care. It was fun.
Oof.
I had fun there.
I don't know if I can agree with that. I mean, if I turn my brain off and close one eye, spin around 3 times, and close my other
Exactly.
eye, then sure, it's a great movie. I agree with you.
Did you
But-
like Mortal Kombat and Mortal Kombat 2, the most recent?
I liked Mortal Kombat. I wasn't a big fan of Mortal Kombat 2.
Interesting. So I thought more people were saying that they enjoyed 2 more than 1, but I thought that might just be a little bit of bias because most people didn't, because not the original, but the 2021 version came out on streaming and not really in theaters all that much. So people saw more of it there. I thought they were going to do more with Jade. I really did.
Yeah, I thought that they were going to as well, but I'm not a big fan of Tati Gabrielle anyway.
I thought that was gonna, like, it felt like there was like a whole story in the cutting room floor there that was supposed to like extend the length of the movie there. So,
Yeah.
all right. As far as Supergirl goes, guys, we got off track. That's all right. It was more fun than talking about this movie anyway. When I really do think that it's heading towards a very middling release, and I guess the problem with Supergirl is that it's gonna be used once again. I did like a video last week on this Collider article about like why can't we have fun at the box office anymore, which was basically code for shut up and take the slop. Which most of the time I'm the one here who's like, yep, I'm fine with that, but I also can't hold it against people for wanting to be, hold these studios to a higher standard. When they're not willing to do that, people are going to be critical. And in lieu of something really inspiring people, they go off on another direction and start talking about something else entirely. If the material that they're being shown isn't interesting, if they're not being given something to talk about, they will find other things to talk about. You might even say the Odyssey is falling into that category a bit right now. They need like another, and to be fair, Nolan's selling out more screenings now still, another couple of theaters of IMAX tickets sold out in less than 24 hours. I have no doubt that movie's going to make a ton of money. But if they wanted to shift the narrative, they'd be releasing another trailer and trying to get the vibe right this time, because trailers just aren't. Like, that's the other thing. Like, I don't know if this is true for you. Trailers, like maybe I'm just getting old and jaded, but like I didn't like the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer until like the third time I watched it. Like a lot of times I watch trailers now and I'm like, eh.
It feels like a trailer we've seen a million times in a way. It doesn't evoke any emotion. It doesn't feel special. It just is like, it's a trailer. We have to release it.
And they're all kind of cut the same way. It's the same dramatic trailer for every movie. That's what it is. Low bois.
It's like how people criticize the floating head posters. I think sometimes they can work, but yeah, I mean, when you make the same posters for literally every single movie, they all start to blur together.
Yep. All right, it's time to talk about what the hell is going on over at Microsoft and what the hell's going on with Xbox.
I mean, it's definitely a problem. That's for sure.
Do you want to give everybody a breakdown? So I got the tweet here, this original tweet that you sent me. It says,
Yes.
Xbox plans major reset at the company going forward as the business falls under strain. Excluding Activision, Xbox has lost roughly $500 million in revenue per year over the past 5 years. Man, I'm feeling good about my job right now, because I am not losing $500 million in the last 5 years. We'll end the fiscal year at 3% profitability, down year over year. Prices for down year over year. Prices for console storage components will be 5 times what they were last fall. Is that to do with like the RAM, with like RAM prices going sky high last year because of?
Yes, so we've been hearing that Microsoft/Xbox is losing hundreds of dollars per console because they've raised their prices quite a bit when it comes to hardware, just like everyone has. I'm sure that anybody follows gaming news knows that the Steam Deck just went up by $300 because they couldn't, they wanted to apparently raise it by a little bit, but they just couldn't end up taking that loss for so long. So they raised it by $300 overnight. But yeah, Xbox is facing a lot of issues in terms of the hardware that a lot of other companies are. But Xbox right now is facing issues on a multitude of levels. So as this post says, they've planned this major reset, but it's happening far quicker than we anticipated, because back in February, we knew that Phil Spencer was retiring. That's at least what he claims. And Sarah Bond was being positioned as the future CEO. She ended up leaving at the same time as Asha Sharma was brought in. She is now leading Xbox and hopefully to new heights. But things were pretty silent for a few months. We did hear that she was stopping some of the poor marketing, the everything is an Xbox marketing, where they had a litter box as an Xbox in that advertisement. Yeah, definitely didn't go as well as they anticipated. No shocker there. And then they started skyrocketing the prices of things like Xbox Game Pass. They lost millions of subscribers. They went back on that and they decided to lower the price again. But now we have gotten to the point where Xbox is spending billions and billions of dollars every single year on games that are failing. So look at Gears of War. Gears of War EA, I'm sure, is going to make money, but will it make the $1 billion they need? Because they have put $400 million into just the development of that, never mind marketing. So that's upwards of $500 million, I would definitely assume. Even a smaller indie game that was in development for 7 years and had a apparently 100 people working on it and cost $100 million, got 1,500 all-time peak on Steam when it launched last year, south of midnight. We don't know the Game Pass numbers, but these are supposed to be Game Pass fodder games, but they're spending hundreds of millions per project. You have what had released, I believe it was like 8 months ago or so, Hellblade. Hellblade Senua's Saga came out, massively underperformed. The report is that they spent $250 million on the development of that game. And so now Xbox is scrambling to make money. That's never mind the investments. Over the past decade, they have acquired studios for over $100 billion. I mean, Activision Blizzard alone was $69 billion. It's a lot of money.
Is unbelievable. And now what he said, that the head of Xbox Games is resigning after mass layoffs were announced?
Yes. Well, the thing is that they're all saying they're resigning.
That's the polite way.
Right. The president of Call of Duty studio, Treyarch, who's worked there for 22 years and has led this studio for a decade, is resigning all of a sudden on the same day that everybody else seems to. I mean, it's very clear that they are clearing house. And we've also heard these reports that Ninja Theory, Compulsion, and Double Fine are all on the chopping block. They are going to be closed down. And the only way that that isn't going to happen is if they can go independent. That is the word on the street, is that they are in negotiations to spin off from Xbox. But even then, we're going to see these massive studios go through major layoffs and game cancellations. There's no way around it.
So what is the idea that they need to get down to fewer titles so that they can consolidate their, because even then they need to get the cost down per game, right? Like it's Vara's you back? We'll have to wait and see if is that you or me?
I don't know. Like the page went dark and then
That's okay.
Back, so that's okay.
That's all right. Well, it's if it did, I'd been like, we'll just go to super chats then if we had to. But it looks like we're back. It's like, is the idea here that they want to get the cost down, like per game made, or is the idea that there's just literally not just that each game costs too much, but there's too many things getting made?
I mean, the problem, right, is that it sounds like there's a million game plans. So if they're not able to get the individual game costs down by laying people off and by giving them smaller budgets, then they are going to have to close the studios. But apparently Microsoft is sick and tired of them losing this amount of money. Now, Xbox does bring in $20 to $25 billion annually. So it's not like, they're making nothing off of video games, but apparently Microsoft is saying enough is enough. You either start making money and you're in the green, or else we are going to spin you off, and that's just going to be that.
That is just seeing those types of numbers out there is absolutely insane. Especially when you look at, like, we talk about this with like the few major studios, and even they're trying to get their budgets down. They're not doing that well. They've got the $200 million budgets down to 170, but I guess like every penny counts. It's actually more when you think about inflation. Yeah,
and also a video game can take 10 years to develop. So Dragon Age the Veilguard, a game that cost them over $300 million to develop, never mind marketing, ended up severely underperforming. All of those people got laid off and fired, but that took 10 years to make. Look at Grand Theft Auto 6, for example, a decade plus. They are reportedly spending over $2.5 billion on the development of that game, and it's supposed to release at the end of the year. Who knows? You have Elder Scrolls 6, which is a big reason why Microsoft ended up purchasing ZeniMax for Bethesda. They announced that 8 years ago. We haven't gotten any trailers for that, and Todd Howard literally said, forget we announced that.
$2.5 billion on GTA 6.
Yes.
I mean, the thing is, though, is like as culturally relevant and as important as Grand Theft Auto has been to like American, teenage culture, like for my generation, I don't know if there's anything that can live up to something that costs $2.5 billion to create. Like, I understand that it doesn't make all its money at once and that it finds a way to continue to make money as it goes on, right? With like in-game purchases and things like that. But like, what do you do? Like, how do you make your money back on something like that?
Well, Grand Theft Auto 5 is the second best-selling video game of all time.
Do you know what the numbers are on that?
So the number for GTA is 230 million units sold since 2013.
Okay. That's a lot.
And so, of course, that is a lot of different platforms. That is a very long time. But that's why they're banking so heavily on it. And hey, look, if this doesn't go good, that's the end of Rockstar. I mean, there's no possible way that they can come back. So this is a do or die moment for them. And it's the same with Bethesda. Again, they announced it 8 years ago. They announced Elder Scrolls 6 8 years ago, nowhere close to releasing $1.5 billion. It'll probably be upwards of $3 billion by the time the development is done, and also the marketing, because we have no idea what the marketing is for Grand Theft Auto 6 either. Now, one would assume that the marketing budget for that game is going to be pretty small because literally everybody in the video game industry already knows when it's going to come out and what it's going to be when it releases. But who knows?
Oof. Not fun. It does not seem like a good time. Like, it feels like working in the video game industry is kind of like working as like a mainstream reporter these days. Your job's constantly on the chopping block.
Right. Well, with the video game industry, there was so much overhiring that was done, and there was such a big amount of expansion, especially during the days of the pandemic, because these companies felt like, oh my gosh, everybody's home. We're making so much extra money. This is a great way to make all this money and then expand. And they've expanded too much. And then you have I mean, starting in 2014 during the days of Gamergate 1, all of the activists that found their way into this space who didn't care about video games, didn't care about the industry, but they thought it was going to be a very easy way to make a quick buck. And so you have narrative consultation companies that have popped up like Sweet Baby Inc. There's dozens of people that have worked there, and there's dozens upon 100 plus companies like that or studios like that, where these are people that are twiddling their thumbs but get these big deals with large companies.
Yeah.
And so that's just a lot of individuals who are doing nothing in this space. And so yeah, I mean, you're going to get fired if you don't make content that people want.
All right, guys, let's move on. So it wasn't that long ago that we did actually cover the upcoming Amazon television series Tomb Raider, but there's more news coming out now. This is not related to the television series. This is related to Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis, and it is, of course, a voice actor once again saying something stupid, correct?
Yes, yes, it is. Who would have thunk it?
Alex Wilton Reagan is the new Lara Croft, and she wants you to know that Lara Croft isn't just Lara Croft. And by the way, I hate that. I will always say, I try to say Lara, but Laura is just so much more normal to say. But she wants you to know. Well, not like for anybody, because there's more than a few people I know that actually have that name, and I can't do it right. It's the worst. But that's okay, because people in the chat call me Bread. So, if I can't be pronounced by my name, that's what it is. Look, we are long past the days of Angelina Jolie as Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, and we are long past the days even of Alicia Vikander in Tomb Raider. But on the video game side, it seems like it's always been worse, given the fact that they have to talk about stuff like colonialism and stuff like that when it comes to the Tomb Raider games. But now they want you to know that Tomb Raider isn't just for the guys, it is for the girls and the gays.
Wow. I feel like I can't wait for stunning and brave Lara Croft. I mean, who wouldn't want this?
That's what they should have called it. They should have called it Tomb Raider Stunning and Brave.
Basically.
It says Alex Wilton Reagan is our new Lara Croft, playing the heroine in Tomb Raider Legacy of Atlantis and Tomb Raider Catalyst, as we've seen in the trailers. This is a very different version of the character that we got in the most recent games, going back to the snark and confidence of the 1990s stuff. Now, the first thing I thought of when I saw that was the idea that 90s snark and 2020 snark are the same thing is patently insane and will never work.
It is a very interesting statement to make, that's for sure. And, with this actress, she is playing all of the video game versions of Lara going forward. So Catalyst is going to be an older Lara Croft. We don't know exactly her age, but it seems that she's probably going to be like in her early 40s, because she's already like an established version of this character. Whereas Legacy of Atlantis is a reimagining of her debut adventure. And we know how the word reimagining is usually used, but the reports that have practically been confirmed at this point say that in Catalyst, she is going to have a relationship with a woman. And that she is either going to be a like queer icon, or at the very least, maybe it's a past relationship, but that new female romantic interest shows up in that game.
Kind of feels like what they did with Harley Quinn after, they kind of broke her away from the Joker and the relationship.
Yes.
The only, let's face it, what made Harley Quinn interesting was the abusive, codependent relationship with the Joker, and then the character got popular and they moved her into other things. In this case, they moved her into a relationship with Poison Ivy.
Yeah, and, with Tomb Raider in general, there's been a lot of issues. Crystal Dynamics is a company that has wanted to reimagine Lara Croft because they want her to apologize for her colonialist origins, as they say. There was actually going to be a tabletop RPG where it was a team of new adventurers who were bringing back the artifacts that she allegedly stole, and then she was going... Oh, kitty. She was going to have to apologize for what she previously did, and they ended up scrapping that. But I mean, yeah, there's there's been a lot of reimagining of Lara Croft on the table. And so when the voice actress now says this, it's extremely worrying because, of course, in theory, everybody should be able to enjoy Lara Croft and enjoy Tomb Raider. It shouldn't just be for straight people or white people or men or women. It should be for everyone. But the fact that she felt that she had to come out and say this during Pride Month and talk about the gays, it just means that there's a clear narrative that is being pushed with it now.
And when they switch these types of characters, the thing that I find the funniest about it is that when a character resonates with an audience, like they say in here, they say Lara Croft resonated with LGBTQ plus audiences and even became kind of a cult, like a cult hero for like sapphic audiences, right?
Right.
That actually disproves the need for representation. Because a character can mean something to somebody that is nothing like them. But instead of learning from that and continuing to make the character successful the way they already were, they then change the character to try to appease people who already have shown interest in the character as they were.
Right. If you are somebody who happens to be gay and you love Lara Croft, that's great and that's awesome and that's fantastic. But why is it that suddenly you want a brand new modern version of Lara Croft if you already liked the previous version? It's just, it comes down to a lot of activists working in this industry who want to alter things because they don't want men who were the traditional audience to enjoy it.
They say Wilton Reagan describes the character as unapologetic. I'm like, oh, this is going to be so awful. I feel so bad for you. She explains why she picked this word to describe Lara and what it means for her. It was something me and my girls were talking about around New Year's, and a couple people came up with unapologetic. And then I had this interview, and I got asked by the guys at Amazon, what is the word for Lara? On the spot, I went unapologetic. She's so completely confident in herself, her abilities, her brain, her body, her being. She just doesn't question herself. And I think particularly as a woman, we spend a lot of time questioning ourselves. She doesn't. Wilton Reagan says that the female confidence is passing on to the players regardless of who they are. One of the best pieces of feedback that we've had about this game and the people who are playing the demo is that the men are getting this confidence, this kind of Lara Croft charisma and sheen. It's not just one for women, it's for the girls, the guys, and the gays. True enough, Lara's fan base has historically been one for the girls, the guys, and the gays. Guys might have seen her as the more obvious audience, given her history as one of the first, if not the first, video game pinups, but plenty of ladies resonated with her character and intelligence way back when as well. She's also has a huge LGBTQ plus following. Going by what I'm seeing on social media, every sapphic gamer is feral for Lara right now.
Again, it's perfectly fine if you love Lara Croft, but the way that feminists take and twist this content is absolutely wild to me. And also the LGBTQ community, they want everything to cater specifically to them. And, we see what happens with, the feminists, the third wave feminists, and now the fourth wave feminists, how they refuse to give up and they want rewrites of all of these characters and they want them to be the most stunning and brave versions possible, but they also want it all to be gay. And look, it's fine if you have gay characters, but my goodness, something in someone like Lara Croft, I think that she has, decades of established lore and writing, and you should leave her as being her.
What do you think is a harder hill to climb, like mountain to climb for them? Is it Lara Croft appealing to every identity, or trying to fundamentally have Lara Croft do land acknowledgments for having to apologize for it's built into the character, and it's so funny because to the average everyday person, it just doesn't rate, right? Indiana Jones has always been a thing, and you didn't sit and have moral dilemmas about what they were doing because it wasn't about ravaging another culture. There are plenty of movies that have shown characters as the destroyers of culture who go in and pilfer items, but it wasn't about that. It was about, thank you guys. Thank you. We appreciate it. It's gonna be good. We got a little dance from you. Thank you. We appreciate that. So, some people refuse to even move a millimeter. but it was never just, it's not just about like going to another culture and stealing their artifacts. It's about adventure, and adventure used to be something that had a more lighthearted tone when it came to movies and television.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of depressing. That's all I'm saying. I feel bad for everybody who's like, I'm very lucky. All of the stuff that I like to watch, it's all like niche 2010 TV shows. So it's like, I don't have to worry about them making some like...
You always boast about this. You know, every time you say that, it really makes me triggered.
It's not my fault. It's not my... But I feel bad for everybody, because it's like, I've yet to see it happen with any of the franchises that I really like, I guess is what I'm saying. It's like, they're like, I'm sure it will happen. Like, it's funny now because they're talking about how the age of pilfering the Gen X IPs is kind of coming to an end. Masters of the Universe might even be a little bit of an indication towards that, right? Like, they took this big swing, it didn't do the numbers they wanted to. Will it get a sequel? Maybe it goes straight to Amazon Prime, who knows? But that's basically survives on toys, right? But if we're talking about IPs for millennials, like, I don't know, like, I think they actually did do a modern version of like Carmen Sandiego or something like that from like when I was a kid. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just, I feel bad for y'all and for the Star Wars fans. We were going to do another topic today of this guy talking about toxic Star Wars fans. It's like, can't win.
No, I mean, it's gone to the point where you are either, and it's been this way, you know, politically for a very long time, but it's either you are with them or you are against them. If you are not with them, they call you Nazis and bigots and all of these absolutely terrible words that in theory really don't mean anything now in 2026 because everybody's called that on social media all of the time, but nothing is sacred anymore. And something like Star Wars, right? You would think, oh my gosh, this has been popular for so many decades. So many people know it and love it, and they would want to make money on it, but they're hell bent on changing it. And so that's perfectly fine. You can change it, but also you can't expect me to show up and buy it. But you also need to expect me to criticize it because it previously was for me and I was the audience. And they get so mad whenever that original audience shows up and says, this isn't what we want. Like, people in Hollywood and also in the video game industry, they take everything so personally, but it's because they've injected and inserted themselves into the product. The reason why these directors who are, you know, LGBTQ are so furious at the backlash to LGBTQ content is because they're taking it personally. But if you hadn't made everything about you and you hadn't self-inserted, then you would be able to maybe take a step back and see, okay, there's legitimate reasons for these criticisms.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to separate yourself from the material. I mean, that's probably why a lot of people, like if you're in this space and you're sharing your honest opinions on things, and then people either hate your opinions or call you names for your opinions, people get testy real quick because you're kind of putting a side of yourself out there. You're kind of trusting people to hear your take on something, and then when they don't agree with it, people get upset with it. It's kind of the same thing in a different way when it comes to people who do self-insert art. They're telling a story about themselves or something that very closely ties to something that they felt perhaps growing up. So when it doesn't resonate with audiences, they're like, well, what's wrong with them? They don't get it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go and do some super chats. I asked you all, please, to say hello to Vara. So I did see down in the chat earlier, people were saying hello. It's been so long. It's when did Joker 2 come out?
So I was
2024?
on here like 2.5 months ago, but before that, yeah, it was October 2024.
Yeah, like it was in
But
studio.
this is like my 7th time being on Pop Culture Crisis. So.
I think you're the most consistent of the, other than Colonel Kurtz, who would do the show pretty regularly with me when, when we first went remote. You are one of the OGs of when we first started having guests on the show.
That's me.
Was it with you that we made the Mountain Dew Baja Blast?
Yes.
The homemade Baja Blast?
Yes.
I started
and you forced me not only to watch Joker 2, but also the Marvels. So you know what,
You
Brett?
have the worst.
I'm starting
No wonder
to
you don't want to be on
realize,
here
yeah,
anymore.
I don't want to be on here anymore, baby. Next you're gonna be like, hey, this really cringe-worthy, bad-looking movie's coming out. You want to review with me?
I'm gonna like only invite you on when it's the worst possible movie that could possibly ever come out. I mentioned the Baja Blast thing because I started watching this YouTube video last night, and it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. An encyclopedic look at every Mountain Dew flavor. The video's 4 hours and 49 minutes. I'm about an hour and 25 minutes into it, and I showed part of it to my wife, and she's like, this man has harnessed his autism for good.
He really has.
In the most, I'm not even kidding you, he has microfiche from like Japanese only Mountain Dew ads from the 80s, and he's got patent filings for flavors that never came out. That's tied insane. To photos of like obscure art directors' portfolios from the early 2000s for flavors that never came out, to debunk the claim that it was a fake flavor, but rather proof that it was a concept flavor that never made it to market. It's absolutely fascinating. I wish I was capable of that level of autism. I do. All right. From Katie, she says, hello, Brett and Vara. My new rule for superhero films: I want the strong man hero and I want the woman to fall in love. Why is that so hard? I was kind of sad, I will admit. And I understand that the movie would have required a major rewrite, but not having Tila and He-Man. I understand that they can do that at a later time in the next movie, but I was kind of sad that they didn't go there in Masters of the Universe.
Yeah, I think anybody was, could have been a little bit disappointed by that. I would have liked it too.
I think they would have had to fundamentally change the writing. I think they would have had to age him up at the beginning. Right. If he's supposed to be separated from her for that long, like the idea would have had to have been like they were already in love and then they got separated and then they get back together after she finds him on Earth and then they kind of, find each other again.
Yeah.
Except she looked like the young version of her looked like 5 years older than the young version of Prince Adam.
Yeah.
It was weird. Shane H. Wilder says, happy Taco Tuesday, Brett and Vara. Still no tacos. The Taco Bell is closed the rest of the week because of the explosion. Q, how do I live, from Con Air. Yeah, he said that the Taco Bell fryer at his local Taco Bell exploded. Nobody was hurt, and that
is wild.
I did see a report in kind of an unrelated note that McDonald's is bringing back the baked apple pie for America 250, and I said that's perhaps the most American thing I've ever heard.
We just need to deep fry the apple pie.
Yes, I agree. All right. Chief Corey Anderson says, hey, Vara, it's good to see you back on PCC.
Always happy to be here.
Yes. All right. She's so busy. She's got to, we had to schedule this out a couple of weeks. We'll have to.
We did.
We'll have to do it again. Maybe we do it a month from now, something like that.
Yeah.
If you can find the time. TX Goliath says, I would like to think that the sniper right-hand man of Bane in the Dark Knight was Deadshot. I mean, I know. Well, I thought they said also that Deathstroke was that lame dude at the very beginning on the CIA plane. Who the very first person to ask Bane, if I take off your mask, will you die? And that was apparently Deathstroke.
Well, if it has to be explained, it was implemented poorly.
Corey Anderson says, make an animated Batman, pay Conroy's estate to use his voice, and add the Court of Owls profit. Yeah, I don't know what Conroy's family is like on the topic of AI. But
sounds kind of cursed. But I also know that Mark Hamill had said he won't play Joker anymore after Conroy's passing, so you wouldn't be able to get him. I'm sure that there are plenty of other iconic voice actors who also wouldn't want to join because, in my opinion, Kevin Conroy is probably the best Batman we've ever had, period. But especially, of course, he played the Arkhamverse Batman that I love so much. but I personally would be pretty against that. It's like the Val Kilmer movie, how they've AI'd him into the movie. I know he was passionate about it, but I'm so against that.
I mean, the thing is that that's a trickle. That's like a repeated trickle strategy that they're going to do, where they're just going to filter it in little by little, little by little, little by little, and try to make everybody used to it. That eventually you'll just kind of be like, okay, that's what it is. I did have a funny moment the other night, though. Somebody in the channel, in the chat, will get a kick out of this. So I'm gonna spoil, if anybody cares or hasn't seen Person of Interest, feel free to like turn it off. But one of my biggest criticisms, and I never had a solution to this criticism, was that they used a computer virus as the way they bring down the AIs in the show. And my point was generally that the show was so well written that I thought they could have found a more elegant way of writing the downfall of AI than something like a computer virus. And in the 5th season, being like 12 episodes rather than 22, I felt like they did that because it was like they had to get there quickly and they didn't have the time to come up with a more elegant solution. So I tasked AI with writing a better storyline about how to bring down the AI, and I might actually do a video on it, so maybe stay tuned for it. But but Grok happened to write several suggestions that were far more elegant, and when combined with one another, especially if they'd taken some type of advice there, I found a couple that were very, very interesting. So I just always thought I was like, a virus? Like, come on.
Yeah.
The point of it is that like it doesn't just kill the AIs, it literally kills the internet. So like the main character accepts that like lots of people are going to die because it's not just going to be the 2 AIs that are going to die. It's going to be critical infrastructure and systems and stuff like that. But I still felt like there was a better way to go about it.
There probably is, yeah.
All right. Chief Corey Anderson says, shout out to Mesh, the forgotten kitty.
Yeah, it's always Bilbo hanging out.
I saw a short of yours recently. It was like a kitty montage of the kitty.
It was probably Bilbo, yeah, the orange one, yeah.
All right. Shane H. Wilder says, I need to check my Roku stock now. You have stock in Roku? That's amazing. Although now that means Fox will own the entire Quibi library since Roku bought it in 2021 for less than $100K. See, that's what I would be doing if I was Elon Musk. I'd be doing meme portfolio buying, like buying Quibi.
It's not a bad idea.
Not that John Stewart says the NFL is similar, especially if you don't live where your team is from. Yeah, that is true. Basically, everything it's impossible to find. It's depressing. All right. Corey Anderson says, Vara, you're smart for a lady. JK, you're... JK,
just kidding. Does that mean I'm stupid?
No, he says you're than some dudes too, but I think he meant you're smarter than some dudes too. Brett, you should have Wicked Virtue on as a guest in the future. Yes, that was originally going to happen, and then we started the remote setup and have just kind of fallen by the wayside. I shall reach out to her and see if she wants to come on for a Tuesday episode and perhaps sit in. That would be fun. I did your guys' show one time. That was fun.
Yes. It was.
Shane H. Wilder says, I was doing Roku stock research because of this story. I discovered something interesting. Howdy has 1 million subscribers, yet I know no one who has it. Yes, you do. Me. I have it. I paid.
There's the one.
I paid the $2.99 for Howdy so that I could have Mysteries of Laura, Laura, not Lara, and a couple of other shows. And but I didn't get. Here's the thing. It ended up screwing me over because I originally bought it to make my Roku viewing experience good again, but it wouldn't let me do it on my TV, so I had to do it on on Amazon Prime. So it's a Prime add-on channel, which doesn't extend to my login on Roku. So I did it for nothing. So now I have to look at it on Amazon Prime. I'll get rid of it, but I've actually in the last year, I basically have the ones that I keep. I keep Amazon Prime. I never get rid of Prime. I keep Hulu. I never get rid. I just recently got Hulu again, but that's the one that I keep. Like when like when Olivia wasn't working for a while and we were like saving money, like I got rid of Hulu because it's like that's $20 that I have a lot of those shows on my MB server. Anyways, whatever. Now that we're both working again, we have Hulu. So Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Paramount Plus. I keep all of those all the time. I intermittently will have HBO Max or Peacock once in a while. And then I have them for a month and then I cancel them. I also have had the Hallmark Channel for several months and Up Faith and Family. Because me and Olivia were watching a bunch of Hallmark murder mysteries for a period of time. If you want to watch actual covert feminist propaganda, that's the stuff you want to work. Sure, they've got they're happily married, they're in the traditional families, but believe you me, that's the true feminist propaganda. Like every time she's like, my husband can't fix something around the house. Remember when you tried to do that and the sink exploded? Yes. But you know, I still get a kick out of the Hallmark murder mysteries before they got rid of Candace Cameron Bure. All right. Dingus Khan of Gongolia says, honest question, how is Discovery Plus still a thing when it's the same price as HBO Max and all of its content is on HBO Max? I don't know that all of its content is on HBO Max, but I do know that Discovery Plus is very popular from what I understand.
Yeah.
You know, it's a different market. Like there are plenty of people who watch Discovery Plus who have no interest in Game of Thrones. They just want to watch people rebuild houses.
Yeah. I'm big into Game of Thrones, so I'd use it for that.
There you go. Easy E says, Michelle Obama left the White House a decade ago, and he's like, and she ruined school lunches for 8 years. People are justified in still having beef with her. He put her in quotes. Yeah, you know, I mean, I think the more annoying thing is that like they take the activist route of like America, like I was never a proud American and boo-hoo, woe is me, despite the fact that you have a multi-million-dollar production company and you're in bed with Netflix. Yeah. Shane H. Wilder says, aw, Brett loves us. I love you guys. Not that John Stewart says, I tolerate Brett. And then he put a picture of Mocha. Thank you. Greg Duvier says, finally, Vera Dark has come back to Pop Culture Crisis. Also, no Cringe Tuesdays. I don't know if you meant to do that in The Rock's voice, but if you want me to read it in the intonation of The Rock, I would have to have some type of indication that that's what you'd like. Dingus Khan says, whatever happened to the Call of Duty movie, or was I duped by AI again? That was the Taylor Sheridan one, right? He was going to do a Call of Duty movie.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything else about it except for when it was announced, and then the day after we found out that he had been on social media years ago saying gamers are stupid and gamers are losers, sitting on their mom's couches in their basements.
How many years ago is years ago?
I'm pretty sure it was like 2018.
Okay, so he was already
like 2019.
He was already doing his. So he wasn't like just starting his life as like a mega producer. But my guess is now.
Oh, it's Peter Berg.
Oh, Peter Berg has said it, not Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, so Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon.
I mean, he's in the same sphere.
Yeah, he is.
Stuff. Yeah, you know. He
once said that people who play war video games are stupid, pathetic, and weak.
Oh, man. But he wants to make the...
And they're losers, so...
Well, okay,
Great job.
Before we move on, before we finish the Super Chats, is there, like, can he walk himself back from that? Can he be like, look, it was years ago, I've come around to a different opinion, very hard to, like, get people to buy it?
Yeah, I mean, I also think that Call of Duty is so big, and because the statements were made many years ago, there are going to be a lot of people who genuinely don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think it will hurt this movie that much.
Think so either.
I think sure it'll make headlines again when it's close to releasing, but as long as he doesn't push that narrative again
on the press,
then it's right. Then it's perfectly fine.
Yep. All right. High Voltage says, Miss Dark, what are your thoughts on the Veronica reveal? What does the original rank? Where does the original rank on your Resident Evil tier list?
So yes, they did announce the remake of Resident Evil Code Veronica. My major worry is that it is going to be a sort of reimagining, a new adaptation of it. The Resident Evil remakes have been pretty good. Some of them, like Resident Evil 3, have definitely cut a lot of content and been pretty different all around. I am very excited for it. I love Code Veronica, but Code Veronica was a bit special. I've used this reference before for a lot of people. So I don't know if you know of like the early 2000s Barbie movies, like Barbie and the Nutcracker or the Mermaid ones or Rapunzel or anything, but that voice acting is very similar to the voice acting that is in Code Veronica, where it felt like the voice actors were having a very fun time with it, and it's quite campy in a way. So I'm excited because I love the original. I just worry that it's going to be too modernized.
Okay. Mike says, for Vara, not you, Brett. Well, he said Bert, but I'm correcting him.
All right, Bert, what's your question?
He says, Resident Evil will be good. Do not jinx it. It's the only movie I'm going to see this year. Brother, all you got left is
maybe I'll be here
hope.
reviewing it with Brett, so that means it's going to be bad if that happens.
There's a movie coming out this year that I could ask Vara back just to review. I got to find one. Like, what's something that's like everybody's really looking forward to hating this year? I guess you can't, like, I don't even put the Odyssey there because the Odyssey I still think the Odyssey is going to make a ton of money.
Yeah.
So, Chief Coriander says, I don't know, Vara. Susan Snake has a ring to it. Yeah, it does. I mean,
guess.
it at least has the alliteration.
Yeah.
All right. Brian Bledsoe says, when it comes to adaptations, I'm at the point where I just want to input the source material into AI and ask for the 2 to 3 hour live action so I don't have to see studios' creative liberties. Thoughts? Yes?
No, I don't know.
Shane H. Wilder says, last time Vara was in studio, it was episode 705, Joker Folie à Deux review.
Yeah.
Hollywood War on Toxic Fandoms from October 4th, 2024. It never ends. Like I said, it's all just one big loop.
Yes, it is.
Greg Duvier says, with Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 being MMORPGs that will never make another single player, they will never make another single player Elder Scrolls or Fallout remastered. Sell old games money? What? I'm so remastered remastered
Remaster
games.
the old games.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
He says,
I mean, I think they're gonna pump out content. It's Bethesda, right? So they're not just gonna drop like Fallout and Elder Scrolls.
I'm so good. It says, with Elder Scrolls Online and Fallout 76 being MMORPGs, they will never make another single player Elder Scrolls or Fallout. Remastered sell old game money.
Okay, so I think that it means that because they can just keep remastering old games and sell it for big money, they're never going to create like a new Fallout or a new Elder Scrolls. It's just we're going to get Skyrim remade for the 20th time or remastered for the 20th time. That's the way that I would take it. Now, if that's the case,
Yeah.
and that's what they meant, I don't know.
Bro, this is not Wheel of Fortune, but buy a comma next time. Like,
Thank you.
S. Bud says, Vera's accent gets me in ways. I don't know what that means, but what is your accent? Have you ever been told you have an accent?
I've been told by some people that I have an accent. I think that people get really hung up on the way that I say room. They think that I make it sound too much like rum instead of room.
It's like me.
So.
I say tour rather than tour for the word tour. I say tour.
Yeah.
S. Bud says, Vara, how do you feel about Stalin memes? Might try a thing.
I like all different kinds of memes. I don't get triggered, so whatever it's gonna be.
All right, couple more, and then I'll read a couple from Rumble. Shane H. Wilder says, wait, so you have Howdy on Prime. While I love Prime, it is the worst user interface of any streaming service. Okay, I guess I know one person now. Yeah, I'm that one person. Brian Bledsoe says, Peter Berg, the guy who directed Battleship.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I love that movie. I don't care what anybody says.
You would.
Casting Rihanna, that was genius. Broody Gambit over on Rumble says they ended up recasting Harvey Dent in Batman Returns as well. He was there, though not as Two-Face. Broody Gambit also says Mark Millar is known for casting characters in his comics. When he did Ultimates for Marvel, he made Nick Fury look like Samuel L. Jackson. MCU just followed the Ultimate Comics, and society followed. It's his evil plan, and it worked. Broody Gambit says, Vara, some games I'm looking forward to. Orbitals for Switch, The Mound, Omen of Cthulhu, and Tomb Raider is that, what was the one that we were talking about earlier?
Oh, Legacy of Atlantis.
Legacy of Atlantis. Have you seen anything on these? Probably yes, on Tomb Raider. And what do you think?
Yeah, I would say that I'm excited for all of those. I think that the rest of the year, my big issue is that, and I doubt you've seen this, Brett, but because everyone is trying to avoid the November release schedule for video games, that means in September, there's literally multiple big games releasing every single day.
Why
in September and October?
Because they skipping November?
Because of GTA.
Okay, I thought that got moved back.
There's
again.
literally one game that people have found that's scheduled for November. It's a Barbie game the week before GTA. That's literally
we were gonna get Barbenheimer again.
Yeah. Barbie Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Barbie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Broody Gambit says, Vara, do you stick to video games? I play tabletop a lot and just got a new Tomb Raider board game. It's really fun, and I've been painting the miniatures for it.
Yeah, so my YouTube channel actually started off as a tabletop channel. I don't cover tabletops a lot anymore. I'll cover stories regarding, like Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons or Warhammer and whatnot when they pop up, but I don't feature like tabletop unboxings or reviews on my channel anymore.
All right. Marcus says, sad about the gaming industry, but my media backlog is so large, so I don't care.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. All right, guys, before we go, would you all please hit the like button on this episode, subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you've not subscribed here yet already. Also, I would be remiss. My wife asked me to mention this. It is Toast's birthday today, our third cat, Toast. It is her third birthday. And we celebrated last night. Yes, we did. So happy birthday, Toast. So if you are a member of the PCC channel on YouTube, you can throw your toasts in the chat right now for Toast's third birthday. So Vara, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube and X Veradark Dark Titan Media. I live stream video games Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern. The Vara in Virtue show is live on Wednesday evenings. It is currently at 9 p.m. Eastern. We may move it to 7 p.m. Eastern and test that out for a few weeks. And then Monday nights is FML with Ryan Kinnell. And I live stream basically every day. Fridays is the only day I technically don't, though sometimes I'll throw one into the mix. And then I upload 2 to 3 videos a day on the state of video games and also Hollywood and entertainment in general.
Excellent. Guys, if you want to follow me, I'm on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Remember that PCC is live 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you'd like to listen rather than just watch our show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. If you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at PopCulture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Also, before we go, I do want to mention that we are probably going to hit 50K subscribers on Rumble tomorrow, which is a huge deal. So thank you. Oh, no, we did it today. We are doing it. We did it, but while we were live here. So that is fantastic. So if you are following our channel over on Rumble and you are watching there, thank you guys so much. If you have not, please go over there and subscribe. Also become a member of the Timcast Discord. I am doing twice a month. I've been doing separate episodes, a full hour of PCC additional content, not just covering the news, but taking questions from you guys who are part of the Discord over there. So we're having a lot of fun doing those shows. Also remember, we're going to be doing another movie review, like a bonus weekend movie review for Supergirl coming up. I'm only torturing my wife with this one. Only Olivia has to come and see this one with me and then review it live on the channel. She's literally banging her head against the wall behind me in the studio. So stay tuned for that. Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after that. So we'll be doing that as a live on a Saturday. Then that goes up and becomes a members only video after the fact. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching the show. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see you then. Bye, everybody.